My mother secretly tried to give my newborn baby up for adoption because she thought it would distract attention from my sister's wedding. So I went to court and now she's been convicted. If my wife hadn't picked up that one phone call while I was in the shower, our son might have disappeared from our lives forever and we wouldn't have even known who took him. Hey Reddit, I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here we are. I, 29M, just became a father for the first time. My wife Emily, 27F, gave birth to our son, Noah, 5 weeks ago. We were exhausted but happy. Or at least I thought we were happy. For some quick context, my relationship with my mother, let's call her Karen because it fits, has always been complicated. She's controlling, opinionated, obsessed with appearances, and always put my younger sister Chloe, 26F, first. I was the mistake baby from her words, not mine. Chloe was the golden child. If Chloe got an A-, the teacher was incompetent. If I got an A+, I was clearly cheating or finally doing something right. That kind of vibe. Now, Chloe's getting married next month. It's a big fancy deal. Destination wedding, custom dress, a whole Pinterest board come to life. My mom has been treating it like the second coming of Jesus. When Emily got pregnant last year, we were thrilled, but my mother. Her first reaction was, but won't that ruin Chloe's moment? I thought she was joking. She wasn't. Emily was due 6 weeks before the wedding, so yeah, it was going to be tight, but doable. We planned for everything, support, travel, even a postpartum nurse if needed. But my mom kept acting like this baby was a personal attack on Chloe's bridal glow. She started dropping comments, are you sure it's responsible to bring a newborn to a wedding? Isn't it kind of selfish to expect people to pay attention to a baby when Chloe's getting married? Maybe you should consider staying home. I brushed it off. Just Karen being Karen. But I should have paid closer attention. I should have seen it coming. The week before Noah was born, my mom started visiting more often. She brought groceries, offered to help clean. I was touched. I thought maybe she was finally turning a corner. I even told Emily maybe she's trying to be a real grandmother. Then Noah was born. And everything exploded. At first, everything seemed okay. My mom was there at the hospital, smiling in photos, holding Noah gently. She even cried. But once we brought him home, her tone shifted again. He cries a lot, doesn't he? You look like you haven't slept in days. Are you sure you're up for parenthood? And then the biggest red flag, she started offering to take him off our hands for a few days. I said no every time, obviously. But she kept insisting. Just a few nights. Let you get some rest. You'll thank me. Then she got sneaky. One morning, about 2 weeks after Noah was born, Emily got a phone call while I was in the shower. She answered because it was a number with our area code. It was an adoption agency. They were calling to confirm our application and check if we were ready to schedule a home visit. Emily freaked out and put the call on speaker. Turns out someone had submitted an adoption inquiry using my name and email. But the phone number? My mother's. And the reason for adoption? Unable to provide stable home due to financial and emotional stress. We both just stared at each other in silence. Emily started crying. I felt like my whole chest was caving in. I didn't even know where to begin. I called the agency back and demanded answers. They said someone identifying themselves as me had filled out the intake form online and had a follow-up phone call last week confirming our intent to give the child up. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. But somehow deep down, I could. Because this is exactly the kind of manipulative, backstabbing thing my mother would do when she thinks she's doing what's best for the family. I didn't want to believe it. But I knew it was her. And that's when I started digging. After that call with the adoption agency, I was shaking. Not the kind of shaking you get when you're scared, but the kind you get when your blood is too hot to stay inside your skin. Emily sat on the couch, just silently holding Noah, her face pale, drained. I felt like I had already failed my wife and my son, and we hadn't even been parents for a month yet. I didn't say much that day. I just started looking. I went through my emails. My mom had access to my Google account once years ago to help me set up a calendar, and I never thought much of it. So I checked my sent messages. Sure enough, there were 2 emails I didn't recognize, both forwarded to the same address from my inbox, Noah's birth certificate and our hospital discharge paperwork. My stomach dropped. I kept digging. And then I found it, a draft email to a private adoption agency. It hadn't been sent, but it was detailed, way too detailed. It listed Emily's postpartum depression, which was barely even a thing, our supposed financial problems, we're fine, by the way, and even included lies like, the parents are considering divorce and child would be better off in a more stable environment. The kicker? It was signed with my full name. That's when it all connected. My mother had been visiting more often, not out of kindness, but to snoop. She must have taken photos of documents, listened in on our conversations, maybe even gone through our drawers while we were sleeping. I suddenly remembered the weird moment a week ago when Emily found our mail reorganized. I thought she was just sleep-deprived. But now I knew my mom had been stealing information right from under our roof. I confronted her the next day. I drove over to her house with Noah's car seat still buckled in the back. My hands were shaking as I walked up to the door. I rang the bell. She opened it like nothing was wrong. "Hey, sweetheart." "Oh, no baby with you today?" she said, all fake smiles and saccharine warmth. "Cut the shit, Mom," I said. Her smile dropped. "Excuse me." "I know. About the adoption agency. About the emails. The phone number you gave. Everything." And I swear to God, she didn't even flinch. Instead, she tilted her head and said, "I did what I thought was best. Chloe's wedding is next month and this whole situation, it's too much. You and Emily are clearly overwhelmed. You tried to give away my fking son because you thought he'd steal the spotlight from a fking wedding?" She crossed her arms. "You're being dramatic. I didn't give him away. I started the process. That's different. I knew you'd come around once you had time to think about it. I just stood there, blinking, waiting for her to laugh, to take it back, something. But no. She was dead serious. You've always been impulsive," she continued. "I figured this was another one of your phases. I mean, come on. A baby? Right before Chloe's big day? What were you thinking?" I lost it. I told her she was never seeing Noah again. I told her if she ever came near us, I'd involve the police. And she? She laughed. She actually laughed in my face and said, "You don't have the balls. You've always been weak." So I left. And I went straight to the police. So yeah, I walked straight into the police station that day. Still shaking. Still half believing this couldn't be real. That some part of me had misunderstood, overreacted, something. But I had the emails, the voicemail from the agency, the matching phone number that led directly back to her. I had evidence. The woman at the front desk took one look at me, red-faced, jaw clenched, holding a folder, and gently said, "You can talk to someone in private." They set me up with a detective and I laid everything out. Every detail. The calls, the emails, the lies. The intent. The detective looked concerned but skeptical at first. Then I handed over my printed Gmail log showing the draft she wrote using my account. He asked if I'd ever given her access. I told him yeah, years ago, but I hadn't changed my password. That's on me. But what she did with that access? That was criminal. He nodded slowly, then asked, "Do you believe she would have actually gone through with it? Like, sent the baby away?" And I swear to you, I've never hated anyone more than I hated my own mother in that moment, because I said yes. Without hesitation. Because I knew she would have done it. She didn't think of Noah as a person. He was a problem. A wrinkle in Chloe's wedding photos. An inconvenience. A threat to her curated, perfect family narrative. He took it seriously after that. He said what she'd done might fall under identity theft, attempted fraud, and potentially interference with parental rights. He told me to file an official report and they would open an investigation. I signed the paperwork right then and there. Things moved fast after that. A week later, my mother was contacted by the police. I know this because she showed up at our apartment. She pounded on the door like she was the cops. Emily and I were terrified. We didn't open. She yelled through the door, "How dare you involve the police in family business?" Then she tried to guilt-trip us, "You're ruining Chloe's life. She's stressed out now because of your selfish drama." We recorded everything through the peephole. Her screaming, threatening to call a lawyer, claiming we were abusing the child by keeping him in a hostile home. She even called me a sociopath who was manipulated by a hormonal wife. Then she said it, "You'll regret this when you lose him. I'll make sure of it." We turned that recording over too. After that, a protective order was issued. She was barred from coming near us, our home, or Noah. The investigator found even more evidence. Apparently, she'd contacted not just one, but 2 agencies she was shopping Noah around behind our backs. She'd even reached out to one couple directly through a Facebook group and pretended to be Emily. She told them she was young and scared and wanted a better life for her child. The couple were the ones who eventually flagged the weirdness. That's what got one of the agencies to call and confirm, which is how the whole thing started unraveling. When I found that out, I threw up. Like, literally. Curled over the bathroom sink and vomited bile. Emily cried for hours. This woman, the woman who gave me life, had tried to erase my son. Not just steal him. She tried to rewrite his whole future. And she did it with a smile on her face, thinking she was helping. A few days later, she was charged. Not arrested. Not yet. But formally charged. And when she got the summons, She showed up to court in this white suit like she was the victim. Like she was the goddamn hero in a Lifetime movie about a misunderstood matriarch. She denied everything at first. Said we were making it up. That Emily was unstable. That I was emotionally fragile. But the evidence spoke louder. The emails, the call logs, the voicemail, the messages to prospective parents. Her attorney tried to paint it as concern for the baby's well-being. That she was acting as a temporary guardian. That she never intended to follow through. The judge wasn't buying it. Not when he heard her say, on our recording, "You'll regret this when you lose him." So after my mother was formally charged, the legal process kicked into high gear. It wasn't a full-blown trial or anything, more like a series of hearings. She was facing charges for identity fraud, falsifying adoption paperwork, and harassment, though the DA said straight up that they were pushing hardest on the fraud and interference with parental rights. The adoption agency even cooperated, handed over call logs, confirmed her voice on the recordings. My mother pled not guilty, of course. Claimed it was all a misunderstanding. Claimed Emily and I were emotional and making a mountain out of a molehill. But here's where it got even messier. My entire extended family turned on us. My aunt, her sister, called me crying, begging me to just talk to her before things go too far. My cousin, who I was close with growing up, unfriended me and posted this passive-aggressive Facebook status about sons who betray their mothers over lies whispered by bitter wives. Like Emily had cast some damn spell on me or something. Even my dad, who divorced my mom 10 years ago and barely talks to her, called me to say, "I never thought she'd go that far, but are you sure you want to press charges? She's still your mother." I lost it. "She tried to steal my son, Dad." "What part of that is unclear?" "She didn't actually take him," he said. "She just made some calls." "Made some calls." I didn't even have words. The worst part? Chloe, my sister, Miss Bridezilla. She texted me and said, "You seriously couldn't wait until after my wedding to start this drama?" Not, "Are you okay?" Not, "What the hell happened?" Just concerned that her big white day might get less attention. When I didn't respond, she left a voicemail. "I don't know what Emily's been feeding you, but Mom loves you. She's just stressed. You have no idea how hard this has been on her." I blocked her number that night. I told Emily we weren't going to the wedding. Not just because of the betrayal, but because it was clear we weren't family to them anymore. Not in the way that matters. Chloe had picked her side. And even if she hadn't, I couldn't sit at a table, eat cake, and pretend like my mom hadn't tried to erase my son's existence like he was a smudge on a napkin. The day of the wedding came. We got photos sent to us by a mutual friend. Sure enough, my mom was there. No consequences yet. Wearing the same white suit she wore to court, no joke. Smiling like she hadn't just tried to commit one of the most disgusting betrayals I can imagine. She gave a speech, apparently about family overcoming tough times. That night, Emily cried herself to sleep. She kept whispering, "I don't feel safe anymore. I don't even know what safe means." And I didn't have an answer. I was numb. Just numb. I felt like my entire childhood was unraveling in front of me. Like every fake smile, every forced hug, every "I'm proud of you, honey" was just costume jewelry over rusted metal. I didn't just lose a mother. I lost the illusion that I ever had one. But the court didn't forget. The investigation continued. 2 weeks later, she was convicted. No jail time, because of course not, but 18 months probation, a $5,000 fine, and a restraining order extended for 3 years. The judge said, "You knowingly and willingly attempted to remove a child from his legal parents without consent. That is a betrayal of the deepest kind." It felt good. For about 5 seconds. Then I walked out of the courtroom and saw Chloe waiting in the hallway. She looked at me like I was a cockroach. "You couldn't even let her have probation without embarrassing her in public?" I said nothing. I just walked past her. And that was the last time I saw my sister. The final blow came a week later. We got a letter in the mail. Certified. From my mother's attorney. It was an appeal for grandparent visitation rights. Even after everything. Even after she was convicted. She still thought she deserved to see Noah. Emily was holding the letter when she burst into tears. "She won't stop," she sobbed. "She's never going to stop." I took the letter, lit the fireplace, and burned it. Our attorney filed a response and included the restraining order, the court conviction, and the psychological evaluation the judge had quietly requested. Yeah, she failed that too. The court denied her petition immediately. But I couldn't shake the feeling that she'd try again. That she was still watching. After the court shut down my mother's bid for grandparent rights, we thought it was over. It wasn't. She didn't try anything else legally, thank God. But she started working through other people, friends, relatives, even our old neighbor Mrs. Delaney. Little messages would get back to us. Your mom misses you. She just wants to meet Noah. Don't punish her forever. Every message felt like a new paper cut across a wound that was finally scabbing over. Emily and I blocked everyone. Phones, emails, even deleted Facebook for a while. We were tired. So ****King tired. We weren't even 30 yet and felt like we'd lived a lifetime of betrayal. Therapy helped. Not right away, honestly. The first few sessions felt like sitting in a burning house and being told to describe the furniture. But eventually we found a good one. Someone who didn't just nod but challenged us. She said something that stuck with me. You can't change who raised you, but you get to decide what kind of parent you'll be. Every day, you get to be someone different than they were. It broke something open in me. Because for so long I was terrified I'd turn into her. Cold. Controlling. Obsessive about what others thought. I was afraid I'd hold Noah too tight, afraid to let him become his own person. But I started learning to let go. To breathe. To just be a dad. Noah was 6 months old the first time he really laughed. Like, full belly laugh. We were on the floor. Emily was blowing raspberries on his feet and I was making weird noises with a stuffed elephant. And suddenly he just erupted, this wild, unfiltered joy that filled the entire apartment. I looked at Emily and saw tears in her eyes. I never thought we'd get here, she whispered. That laugh was the sound of survival. It was the sound of every broken part of me starting to stitch itself back together. We moved cities 6 months later. New jobs, new apartment, no ties. We didn't tell anyone where. Not even extended family. Just packed up and started over. It was terrifying, but freeing. Like finally cutting the last cord from a life that never loved us the way it should have. We made new friends. Parents who understood boundaries. People who offered support without guilt. Emily joined a postpartum support group. I coached a toddler soccer league. We got a dog because screw generational trauma and Noah adores him. And you know what? For all the pain, for all the courtroom bullshit and betrayal and sleepless nights, we got stronger. Not just as parents, but as partners. As people. I used to think blood was everything. That family was sacred no matter how toxic. That if you loved someone, you had to forgive them. That belief almost destroyed me. Yeah? Now I believe this. You do not owe love to someone who weaponized it. It's been almost 2 years since all this happened. Noah is learning to walk. Emily started painting again. And me? I'm still healing. Still rebuilding. Still learning to trust the peace when it finally shows up. We haven't heard from my mother in a long time. Maybe she's finally stopped. Maybe she's just found new ways to play the victim. I don't care anymore. The other night, Noah toddled over to me, looked up, and said, "Dada," for the first time. I broke down right there on the living room rug. Because I realized I'm nothing like her. I chose love. I chose to protect my family even if it meant losing the one I was born into. So to anyone reading this who's afraid to cut the cord, to set the boundary, to stand up to someone who's supposed to love you, you're not crazy and you're not wrong. You're just trying to be the parent you never had. And that's more than enough. Thanks for listening, Reddit. I needed to get this out. If you made it this far, hug your kids. Hug your partner. And hug yourself too. You survived. We survived.